I think that is the hope. I think you're onto something with that. Yeah, yeah. I do want to first, yeah, Zoom fatigue. I do want to first of all, I got a new computer here at the office, you guys. It's this Windows computer, and I've been using Keynote every week for the Monday Mindset. And I totally made it my laptop, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I can't use Keynote on a Windows computer. So I'm in a little bit of an adjustment period with that, but I do have the slides from Colette. So don't worry, Colette, I got your stuff ready.
I have it if you don't, and I can.
Oh, it's right. It's on your slides are on my computer. We're all good. I don't have the other ones, but I just also want to just take a minute. I put the poll up, and I just want to look. Today, I was wondering, what do people do when you wake up? And so they clicked read. Some people, there was an honest person that said check your email. My option, it didn't let me pick, but the first thing I do is yell at Alexa. It's like, Alexa, snooze. I was like, stop, give me 20 more minutes. It's because she's my alarm clock. So I yell at her first thing every day, and then brush teeth. And there's a couple others. What do you guys do when you first wake up? That's not on this list.
You want us to put it in the chat, or do you want us to say?
Yeah, we can say it. Come on, there's only a few of us. Let's go.
Meditate for 10 minutes.
I love it.
Drink coffee and play spider solitaire for about 15 minutes.
I love that.
I make tea.
Okay, you make tea. What kind of tea?
Earl Grey, creamer, a little bit. Yeah.
Love it. We're going live. It might delay for a second, you guys. Just real quick, we're going live in our Facebook group again. Do you guys think that was helpful last week? When we went live in the Facebook group?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool. We are now live in the Facebook group then. It's just, it was, okay, here we go. Go live.
That way everybody
can. Go live now. So Colette, what do you, we have you right here. I'm gonna share my screen. I gotta pull your slides up, and I'm
so when I was thinking about it, Monday Mindset, a word kept showing up for me all weekend. And so I think why the word showed up for me is because, I don't know about you all, but here in California and the mainland, we weren't allowed to go to the beaches. So it was like, we were released about 3 weeks ago to start going to restaurants and start doing things. And then on 4th of July, what happens, they pull us back and they're like shutting down restaurants, and the only ones who can be open are the ones that have outdoor space. And then you couldn't go to the strand or the beaches. And I started to think about what it must be like to own a small business right now, and to get the government to say, okay, you can go back to business, and then to pull you back, right? And you're all business owners of your own business, right? And you're fortunate because you're on an island and it's essential and business is being done, and yet you won't have any real visitors until August or September in Maui.
Right.
So that's why the word resilience kept coming up for me. So I found this quote, which I love. Resilience is the capacity of a system, enterprise, or person to maintain its core purpose and integrity in the face of dramatically changed circumstances. So a while ago, I said, we are all in a storm, but we're all in our own boats, right? We're all in a storm, a perfect storm, economic, emotional, political, social. I mean, we are in a perfect storm. So how do we get through these stormy times? How do we get through the uncertainty? And it's people who are super successful. I don't care what business they do, or if they're in sports, or whatever it is, in a relationship, they've been married for 30, 40 years, this one word will keep popping up, and it's resilience, right? So I want to share with you, this is off of a book I read. It's the Resilience book by Eric Ryder. And these are his key ideas about resilience I wanted to share with you today for Monday Mindset. Number one, the key idea is you need resilience to courageously overcome life's challenges. So what I put with resilience in terms of real estate is, think of these words: relentless, rejection, results, and rewards. So what does bold say? You can have excuses or you can have results. You can't have both.
Reasons or results, yeah.
Right, you can have reasons or results, so you can't have both, right? So to overcome life's challenges, you need to be able to get through it. You need to break down, and then you'll break open, and then you'll break through. So when resilient people look at rejection, if they're calling people, they're in sales, it really isn't rejection to them. It's a reaction. So for that moment, I'm not going to sell that person. And I remember a great movie. I don't know. Raise your hand if you've ever seen the movie Boilerplate.
Oh, Boiler Room?
Boilerplate.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Room, you're right.
Yeah.
There's a great line in there where he says, somebody will make a sale. It's either you or the other person on the call. So I'll either convince you to buy, or I'm going to convince you that I won't buy. Someone is going to win, right? So resilient people don't look at rejection as a rejection. They look at it as a challenge, and how do I overcome that reaction? Number two, anything worth having is worth struggling for. So if you feel your real estate business is worth having, if you feel your relationship is worth having, if you feel the business that you own, like these little restaurants that I see that have turned parking lots into outside patio areas, that was a pivot. That's being resilient. So they couldn't put 10 people in the restaurant. Now they've got 10 people in the parking lot, right? That's being resilient, all right? Number three, to summon resilience, start by taking responsibility for your own actions, right? So I remember in the last shift, I was teaching a class as the team leader in 2008, and I had an agent come in and a bunch of agents, they were like, oh, nothing's happening. I'm not selling anything. No one's buying anything from me. So I looked at the group and I said, wow, you are absolutely right. Nobody ever buys or sells in a shift. And then everyone started laughing because that's exactly what everybody buys and sells. So it's not about your reaction or what you do. It's about you have to pivot, take responsibility. You're not lead genning enough. You're not talking to enough people. And that you got to own that responsibility. And if it's a business worth having, you're going to do the actions worth doing, right? Number four, repetition allows us to form positive habits that help us reach our goals. So if your goal is to lose 10 pounds, what would be a repetitive action that's a positive habit? Anybody? If I wanted to lose 10 pounds, what habit could I do every day to ensure over time I would eventually lose 10 pounds?
Exercise. There we go, Andy. You and me both.
Exercise, eating better, drinking more water, right? So it's a repetitive habit. I mean, how many of us need to drink more water? So if the repetitive habit is, I have, 2 liters of water everywhere I go, on my desk, in my bedroom, then it's reminding me I've got to always drink water, right? As everybody goes and grabs their water right now, okay? Right?
Yeah.
So that's a good positive habit. Number 5, resilience is about learning to accept failure. And what I love about this one is, what is the learning lesson? What is this teaching me now? And it could be that, look, life is unexpected and uncertain. And I can share something really transparent. In my first marriage, like I've told this story before, I was left with a child, 6 months, single parent, and I was in real estate. And I was like, how did I get here? And I was like, how did I get from having all this business to all of a sudden having no business and starting over? And what my lesson was at the time was I took my foot off the pedal. Even when I was going on maternity leave, I should have had a system in place to continually touch my clients. And what was really cool today, as I was on command, I was playing with smart plans in my region, and I'm like, oh, I wish I had this when I was an agent, where it's automated and it can be in touch with my client. And I can wake up every day to my dashboard and it will tell me, oh, don't forget to call buyer so-and-so. They said they'd buy in 6 months. Or don't forget to send a quarterly newsletter because that's what it said for me to do. So what are the lessons you're learning today? You're now 100 days into stay at home in place. It may come back, who knows, on the islands. I know it's happening here all over the mainland. We're going back to stay in place and we have to be resilient and we have to pivot. So what lessons are you learning in these last 100 days? To summarize, people get better when things get hard. I know I do. I know I'm a better person. I learn, I fail forward. By using our inner strength, we can make the best out of a bad situation. It's a matter of building up courage, strength, and wisdom. And in other words, it's about being resilient. And one of my favorite lines was from the book Grit by Angela, is it Duckworth?
Duckworth.
Yeah,
Yep.
Duckworth. And she says, no matter our backgrounds, our educational institution, whether we went to college or not, or our family, you know, grit and resilience is all about finishing what you started. Sometimes you're meant to quit. Sometimes it's not the right thing for you to do. Other times it's like, is this worth having? Is this business worth having? And if it is, then keep having resilience, keep looking, being relentless on your goals, and look at the next 6 months and create those goals and hit your goals, because there is still time and we are seeing the market picking up again. Thank you.
Thanks, Colette. That was awesome. I know, we're all clapping. I wish if we were in a real room right now, no, there would be applause. I did get
high-fiving.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's good. Thank
We
you.
need to get like an applause sign for Zoom calls like they do in TV studios.
Or
so
just
that
put
way-
in the chat a takeaway or something you got from that. So
Yeah, all right, that's a great thing. Yeah, put in some, Riley shared probably better examples. Yeah, Riley, if we have examples of how you use habits, please guys share some takeaways in the chat on how you're going to be resilient and showcase resilience during this downturn.
Dylan, what I meant by that is when
Yeah.
you talk about losing weight, it can get very close to fat shaming. So there's probably better examples than talking about losing weight.
Thanks for pointing that out. Yeah,
thank you.
well heard, well heard. So today our guest, other than Colette, who's always on giving us the best Monday mindset nuggets, Lisa Teichner. Lisa, now you want to share your own screen, right?
Yeah, I'm going to share my screen. We're going to go old school for a minute here.
All right.
Oh, it says, okay, no, you're not. Here we go. We're going to go old school. We're going to go to magazine learning. I elected to go the magazine route today and share some things with you that I thought were great that I read in a magazine, especially because, so I have a few different things to share with you and we'll see how we're doing on time. But the number one thing was, because this is a Monday mindset call, I wanted to stay focused around mindset. And so this is 29 different things that are related to developing a millionaire mindset. This is a great thing that Jeff Glover wrote, who's a Keller Williams agent. So I want to go through these things with you and then hear anything that you have that you can relate to, or anything that speaks to you, or some examples of how this shows up in your life. So I'm going to go through these things. Number one, you will need to have a strong understanding that you are going to have to do things that others will not be willing to do, right? If you really want to hit your goals and you want to have, build a career worth having, a business worth owning, a life worth living, legacies worth leaving, and experiences worth giving, not everybody gets to that place. So really it's about you looking at committing to doing things that other people may not be willing to commit to do. And that's really an important thing to have a conversation with yourself about. Number two, you will be, and this is talking about specifically, millionaire, but really we're talking about your mindset. You will need to be physically and mentally prepared to make sacrifices and trade the things you want now for what you want in the future. And there's a couple things related to this later that speaks to that. I think that's really important, is that it's not about pay off today. You have to invest. You have to invest time, energy, and effort to get results, right? Gary says, gradually, then suddenly, and that's how things show up. So you have that gradually part can be that grit part that Colette was talking about, making those sacrifices. Number 3, mentally prepare yourself for an incredibly high amount of rejection, like she was talking about, right? The reasons. And we know that no doesn't mean necessarily no forever. It means next opportunity. It means not now. So the amount of success that you achieve is going to be directly related to the amount of rejection you receive. So think about that as you're doing things. And I mean, as you're talking to people, not everybody is going to be able to buy or sell today. 4, so some agents that I know get, I mean, this is a little bit extreme, you know, get excited if somebody's not ready to buy or sell today, because why do you think they get excited if they talk to somebody and they're not ready to buy or sell today? Why would somebody get excited about that? Any ideas based on number 3? What does that mean they're closer to?
Closer to a yes.
Yes.
Yeah, closer to a yes, right? So that's the way, right? That's perspective. Number 4, you must have a strong relationship to failure. Fail often, and more importantly, fail forward. What does that mean, fail forward? What do you guys think that means? If anybody read the John Maxwell book or has heard that term. So when you fail, what does failing forward mean? What's the difference between failing forward or failing backward?
You're learning something. You're taking the lessons from it and moving forward, and not staying in failure.
Good job, Angela. Good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
Absolutely. Number 5, so failing forward, that's what that means. Take a lesson, move forward from it. Prepare to view discipline as a tool to help rather than a restriction or a punishment. A lot of times we talk about discipline, we talk about accountability, and some people have a natural just kind of like reaction based on past experiences to it that might be negative because that's how they've associated with. So think about it as a tool rather than a punishment, and all of a sudden, you know, it's a mindset shift and all of a sudden it changes for you. 6, have a very short memory. Flip the switch at the door and don't let what affected you this morning affect you the rest of the day. Who has had things happen in the morning that maybe weren't so awesome for them? And what happens at that point? Do you all agree that there's a choice to be made right there? Right? You can either let it continue to affect your day and say, well, this ruined my whole day. Have you ever heard anybody say that? This ruined my whole day. Well, who made that choice?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So instead, what could you say if something like that happens at 7 o'clock in the morning? Well, according to this, you could say, what just happened? I don't even remember, which is kind of an easy one, right? Well, I don't know, it's over, right? Or, okay, what am I going to learn from this? And now how do we move on and change the trajectory of what's happening today? Because that is your choice. Let me see what the chat box says. We're in charge of our feelings and our mindset, even though it's hard sometimes. Absolutely. And then need to celebrate. Andy said, need to celebrate every no as you were, yeah, one more no out of the way towards a yes. Angela, grit changed my life. Awesome. Takeaway, hard times can build strength. Great, you guys. Thank you for that. Okay, number 7, view time as your most valuable asset. It cannot be given back once it's wasted, right? That really is our most valuable asset. So what are you doing with that? How are you spending your time? 8, become protective of the company you keep. You are who you surround yourself with, right? Have you ever heard that you're kind of the measure of the 5 people or whatever the number is? I've heard different versions of that. Who you hang out with, who you associate with, the company you keep, the people you're in business with. So I know that if I really want to feel a certain way or think a certain way about things, I'm going to go to the people that I want, that I have a sense that that's going to be a positive influence, that they're going to come up with solutions, that they're going to help me if I'm having some challenges to think about things differently and change my perspective. So be protective. Sometimes we may get stuck with people, you know, in our lives. It's terrible. We choose who we're around, but you know, there may be people in our lives that might not have the greatest influence on our mindset. So how do you protect yourself from that? I mean, sometimes it's your family and, you know, that's where you're at, and that's okay. And, you know, and yet again, you can just try to teach them to think better. Okay. Number 9, have an absolutely strong, unwavering focus at one thing at a time. Okay, so what is the one thing? Really, that idea of focusing intensely on one thing is going to allow you to accomplish it a lot more quickly. So the book, The One Thing, obviously highly recommended if you haven't read that book. We'll probably start adding in some one thing workshops too, as well in the near future. Number 10, value advice from those who have not only gone before, but are still currently doing. So, you know, this is interesting because I think in the real estate industry, there's some truth to this statement, and that I think about people that, yes, it's important to know history and it's important to know what people have done and what worked. And if you think about your real estate business, you might be talking to somebody that says, well, you know, I used to sell, or I used to do this, and here's what I did that worked for me. Well, we know that the industry has changed and continues to change. So there's something to be said for not just taking advice for those who have done, it's those who are still in it, who are still doing it, who are adapting and changing and having success as the world around them changes. So really who you pay attention to and who the advice was. When I became a team leader, I went to family reunion. It was my first week. Actually, I hadn't even joined the company. I think I joined the company at the end of the week, February 2015. I was at the conference at Family Reunion, and I was just so excited to be there, and I was soaking up all the information. I was meeting all these great people, and I was looking for anybody who had a team leader badge on because I wanted to learn. I wanted to ask questions. I wanted to know. And so I'm asking all these people that have team leader badges on, and I'm getting all this information and all this advice, and I'm taking it all in. And then it might have been you, Colette, who said, somebody said to me at one point, you know, something like, which team leaders are you talking to? And I was like, what do you mean, which team leaders? They have a team leader on their badge. They know my role, right? It's like, well, what have they done? What is their level of success? Are you taking advice from somebody who has an
That was me.
people? That was you. So the point was well taken in that, yes, just because they were in the role didn't mean that they were the people that I would value the advice from. Because I really wanted to be around team leaders that were in the top 100 of the company, right? Maybe in the top 10% of the company. So you start to really think about that. And then I learned, and every event I went to afterwards was really seeking out those people and saying, hey, I want to network with you. Let's go have dinner. And that made a huge difference, right? And allowed me to grow so much faster. So, so do that, seek advice from the right people. Number 11, have a strong why and a vision bigger than yourself. And I know one of these calls, right, Dylan, was where we talked about the why. You kind of talked about that. So really understand what gets you up in the morning, what motivates you to do this every day, and really, really being connected to that, your why behind doing what you're doing, and then that vision to match that. Number 12, become comfortable with being uncomfortable. How many times have we heard that, right? Success and what you want is going to be outside of your comfort zone. So just get comfortable with it, you guys. Embrace it. Seek it out. It's weird. It's like this kind of like, you almost feel like, why am I doing this to myself? And then you know, and then you get over it, and you're so much better when you do it and you take the risk. So have a high level of versatility and learn how to thrive in changing environments. If you're not good at that, what will make you better? So if you're not good at something, what makes you better at it? This is not a rhetorical question.
Practice.
Yes, right? Practice. So hey, guess what? Practice being uncomfortable. What? So go do things that are going to take you out of your comfort zone, and then you'll get better at it. Number 13, know when to stop and know when to say no to the things that take you off your path. That's equally as important to what you say yes to is what you say no to. So really look at what matters most, what is your one thing, what's going to get you where you want to go, and empower yourself to say no to those things that are not part of that, right? So you have to know what's important first, and then take things off your path. 14, rarely know the gossip in the office or the latest news going on. This is this funny conversation my husband and I have all the time about what's going on. So I am not, I mean, I'm aware of what's happening. I just don't spend 100 hours focusing on things that are not gonna in alignment with where I want to go and what I want to do in my environment. So just if you don't know what's happening or you don't hear different things and you're not engaged in all of these little things that are going on, that's good. Okay, so keep at it. Number 15, no one succeeds alone. The lattice effect is real and wealth determiners are real. Everyone determines wealth for someone else. So you should choose your wealth determiner wisely, and that person should pour into you in multiple ways. So who is your wealth determiner? And it can be a what too. I mean, it doesn't have to be a specific person. There usually are people that are involved, although it could be books that you're reading, right? Those people that wrote the book could be contributing to being your wealth determiner. So think about who that is for you, what that is for you. Understand the value of time and money, the time at the end of the day versus the money in your pocket. So, right, really, how do you value your time financially, right? What are you paying yourself an hour as you do certain work? What would you be paying yourself an hour? So really look at your time as money and start to get that value in line. There's some exercises we can do around that too. Strive to never be the smartest or richest person in the room. You will never hit a ceiling as long as you are aligned with someone whose vision is big enough, right? You don't want to be the smartest or richest person because then you're in the wrong room. You always want people that are going to help you get better. 18, be very self-aware, know your weaknesses and what to do to overcome them. Sometimes that's a challenge to really get to know yourself in a way that you can overcome the weaknesses that you might have or opportunities. Invest time and money into yourself first before anyone else. This is a reminder that I tell myself, and I'm very excited that I'm doing that now. Okay, 20, have the capacity to stay focused on your goals despite distractions. Put on blinders and make it happen. Intense level of concentration to things should matter most to you. Stay focused and intensely on task to get you where you want to go. Understand, I'm speeding up a little because we're getting short on time. Understand how you have how to separate your feelings from facts and only give life to things that matter the most to you in relation to your goals. That's a big one, right? Separate your feelings from facts. We all have a filter. We all have emotional responses sometimes. So really take a step back if you start getting that reaction or that response and look at things from an objective standpoint. Take your personal filter off. That is going to get you a lot further, a lot faster, and it'll be easier and less stressful for you. Understand, number 22, understand what a deferred payout means. We talked about this earlier. You will have to put in a lot of work up front to reap the rewards later. The clock in, clock out mentality does not work, right? It is you are putting in the work and you will get that payout later. So just keep doing it. You'll see the results from that. 23, understand how to withstand temporary pain or discomfort for long-term pleasure or payout. Don't expect things to be easy and don't let it affect your mindset, right? Don't get defeated, just stay on task. Have a very recognizable trait of mental toughness in all situations. Be unfazed by challenges or popularity contests. Adversity is an advantage because it will create your mental strength. Some of you high eyes, myself included, some people who are high eyes might have a challenge with that sometimes because we want people to like us, right? We want people to like us, and sometimes it just doesn't happen, and probably it's not because of you. So just get on with it, get over it, move on, and stay focused. Understand that winning and recognition are part of the process on the way to the goal, but they're not the goal itself, right? I mean, some people say the process is the goal because you're getting better as a person. However, keep focused on what it is that you want. Winning and recognition are a byproduct of you going where you want to go. Possess an incredible abundant mindset and be willing to give and share to others. Raising or rising tides raise all ships. You guys have probably heard that. So a mindset of abundance, not scarcity, help each other. there's enough for everybody. And if we help each other work together, everybody will win and everybody will benefit and get what they want. 27, have a high level of personal accountability and take accountability in all situations for as much as you possibly can. Don't believe in making someone right or wrong. Be more interested in making the situation right and moving forward. Again, it's not personal, it's about the situation, and you need to have your own personal accountability. In addition to maybe somebody else supporting you and helping you, which will be mentioned in the last one. 28, have a great level of urgency with all that you do and have that show up in how you take action. I mean, there's definitely some patterns in this, right? And number 29, have a mentor or coach along the way, someone who knows the way to show the way so you can grow along the way. It's like a children's book almost. Okay, so there you go, you guys, Millionaire Mindset. Talk about your takeaways.
Well, I will real quick.
Yeah.
Started out. I just think, we talked about this, Lisa, just the other day, and I had a rough week just getting going at the end of last week. And I just thought I'm so grateful to work for this company because we are supported with training and we're supported with Monday Mindset calls, Mission Possible calls. You always send me all these great articles and all these quotes. And there's that community and there was one of your last points there, and it totally was like, oh my gosh, it's totally us. It was the abundance. It's that attitude of giving, not scarcity. And I just think of all of our agents and how, Todd's always like, hey, I'll help you out. If anyone buys me a cup of coffee, I'll tell you everything I know about real estate, and all of our agents will take a call from anybody to help out. And I think that's such a cool, I'm just so glad to be a part of a company that helps us create a millionaire mindset and encourages that. I think it's so cool.
Yep, thank you for that. And we need that it's a constant process of getting that information from people to help keep us going, right? Supporting each other. What else? Who else has a takeaway? 2 more, then I'll let you guys go.
Lisa, I really liked the being comfortable with being uncomfortable. I just love that. If that has not been a theme for the last few years for me, it's so yeah, if you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing. So
right. I'm excited about you, Angela. That's great. Cheryl says we're in charge of our feelings and our mindset. Okay, we've talked about that. And then Lee said, get a coach if you don't have one. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Lee.
All right.
All right, you guys.
Well, I'm going to end with some music. Have a good day. See you guys all on Mission Possible on Wednesday morning. We have that coming up, and we have some wellness activities we're going to be announcing soon for our wellness program here, and we're going to be sharing those in the Facebook group and via email, so stay tuned and have an awesome week.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks, everybody.
thanks, guys.
Everybody, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.